Hey guys, my name is Floating Koala and today I'm going to be telling you how you can dramatically increase your KD. Now whilst I'm talking about the things you need to do, in the background there's going to be a 21 kill solo queue trios game for you to enjoy. Not only that, but if you don't believe this actually works, I went from having an average 4 KD to having an average 8 KD. And guys, you are in luck because the easiest time to increase your KD is at the start of the season. Even if you have a pretty bad KD right now, I promise you by following these steps, you will increase your KD no matter what. You're probably wondering, why should we listen to you, dumb Floating Koala man? Well, dumb Floating Koala man actually has 8,000 hours overall on Apex, and I was #1 pred for a while on arenas, and I've been pred a decent amount on console and on PC. Now that I have hopefully gained your trust, we can begin with the video. Now we're going to start off simple and then we're going to make our way up to the harder tips. The first thing you want to do is don't land where there are too many people. Now, this isn't as simple as you think. I'm not just saying land where there are no people, but the key to a high KD is consistency. Think about it this way. Even if you end up just getting 2 kills a game, every single game, as long as you are not dying in those games, and as long as you're winning most of those games, your KD is going to continue to go up. So what I'm saying is, don't stress too much about getting early game kills, because eventually you will be running into teams no matter what. And early fights are much more riskier to take nowadays because the storm closes in much quicker. And believe it or not, I actually didn't read any of the patch notes this season. So for the first 2 days of the season, I was very confused on why the storm was doing more damage than my enemies. So since the zone closes in quicker and does more damage, you don't really need to worry too much about where you land. And if your only goal is to increase your KD, then I highly recommend not landing hot and landing literally anywhere on the map, because once that first zone closes in, you are bound to find people. Now, tip number 2. This actually completely contradicts tip number 1. However, you should know that I'm making this video solely to increase your KD. That is all. And you also need to know, guys, that your KD truly doesn't matter. It matters to you maybe, but it will not reflect your skill level. Your overall skill level is determined by how you play the game, your mechanics, your movement, your aim, most importantly, your decision making, and all of these different factors can't just be determined by a simple number. So stop thinking just because your friend has a higher KD than you that he's much better than you. Unless you have like a 0.5 KD or 0.8 KD, if it's below 1, then we have an issue. Then you suck. But what you need to understand is being bad is fine. Okay, no one starts off Apex being the best player that they've ever been. It simply does not work like that. But as long as you can acknowledge that you're not good at the game, you can find a million ways to improve. And the fact that you're watching this video right now shows that you want to improve, and that's a good step, and I'm very proud of you. I need you all to do something right now. I need you to go to the comments and put down your KD. Now, I don't want to know your overall KD. I want to know your KD for this season so far. So even if you got 100 kills and you haven't died yet, put down 100 KD. I'm quite interested to see what you got.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got.
And just so you don't feel left out, I'll put my KD in the pinned comments as well. Back to the point I was trying to make, the earlier you fight someone in a game, the higher chance you actually have of winning, because they're probably not going to have very good stuff. But again, it is pretty risky. If you are a pretty good player at Apex, I do recommend you push your fights early, but if you're not so good, then land safe. There's no problem in you doing that. You'll still end up getting a decent amount of kills, especially with these ring changes. Now, I'm pretty sure we're on tip number 3. Now, this third tip is the one that obviously makes the most sense, and I'm sure you're maybe doing this already, is that you need to find teammates. There is no way you're going to be consistently winning games solo. Oh, Koala, I don't have anyone to play with. Where do I find people to play with? Very simple. If you're on Xbox, you obviously use the group post feature. If you're on PC, you can join a variety of different Discords. I'll link some of the ones I use down in the description, but there is no way that you can't find one person to play Apex with, okay? There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people playing Apex, and a lot of them are looking for teammates, just like you. And they don't even need to be insane players. As long as you have teammates or a single teammate to play duos with, your chances of winning games more consistently now has increased by 100 times. Now, moving on to tip number 4. You've acquired your teammate, you are now landing in safer locations, and you're one step closer to becoming the ultimate KD farmer. Now here I'm going to give you a few meta weapon combinations that you should be using every game if you have the chance. I'm going to be giving you 3 separate classes for close range, 3 for mid range, and 3 for long range. So whether you're a short range or long range player, there will be meta classes in here that you definitely will like. Starting off with the 3 close range combinations that I use all the time. Number 3 is the Wingman and the R9. Number 2 is the Car and the Eva. And my all-time favorite loadout this season is the Volt and the PK. Now for you mid-range players out there, number 3 we have the Spitfire and the PK, the Flatline and the Mozam, which is a very interesting class, and the R301 and the Eva. Now if you don't like the Eva, you can swap it out for the PK. If you don't like the PK, you can use the Eva. It's whatever shotgun you like using. Now for my long range, annoying little creatures out there who always snipe me in the brain when I'm just trying to enjoy using my car, starting off with actually my favorite long range combination is the 30-30 and the Alternator. Alternator being super easy to use. The 30-30 has Skull Piercer on it now, so it's insane. At number 2, we have the very annoying but very strong G7 paired up with the car. And then finally at number 1, we have the longbow and the alternator. Now, this is a very good combination that I do recommend you trying out. It's super annoying. Okay, it's super annoying when you're going up against it, but when you're using it's actually very fun. You can put it 2 times on the alternator if you want to as well, because that thing has no recoil. So you can beam people from quite a distance away or use its insane hip fire at close range. And I think we are now on tip number 5. Mentality in Apex is so important. I've spoken about this in quite a few months ago in one of my old videos. I want to reiterate this point one more time. It is so important, guys. Like, if you go into a game and you lose and you get super angry, you're going to go into that next game playing so much worse because you're all up in your feelings, you're all up in your emotions, you're upset that because you died to a charge rifle. Like, now I understand, guys. I understand dying in Apex is probably one of the top 10 worst feelings in life. I'm a very competitive person. I hate losing. So like, no matter what I'm doing in life, say I'm playing ping pong, okay, and a 3-year-old comes up to me and say, hey, can you play ping pong with me? I'll play ping pong with him and I would absolutely destroy him, okay? There is no going easy. I don't go easy on anyone. I don't believe in such thing as going easy. It's always 100% or nothing, okay? And that should be the same thing with you. You shouldn't be happy when you lose, but you should also learn to control it, okay? You need to learn to control your emotions, because if you don't, they will end up getting the better of you. And Apex is such a mental game that you have to be calm basically all the time you're playing. You have to be calm, focused, zen, you know, because if you're angry and agitated, everything you do is going to be played off that emotion, and that's not good. You don't want that. Talking more about mentality, guys, you have to go into fights thinking that you're the best player in the world. It doesn't matter if you're not, okay? It doesn't matter. But you have to have that mentality thinking that you're the best. Because imagine going into a fight thinking that you're going to lose. No top level athlete is going to go into their next game thinking they're going to lose. Because if you're always telling yourself you're going to lose, then you most likely are going to lose. So eliminate those doubts. Even if you do lose at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because you're going to go and go again, right? It's not like you just give up after you die. You're going to keep doing it until you get better. And practice makes perfect. You're not going to be amazing straight away. It's going to take some time for you to get better. And your KD might even go down before it goes up again, okay? Don't worry about that. You got to take a step down before you take a step up, boys. Trust me. Now, for these last few tips, I'm going to go quick fire mode, okay? So tip number 6. Whenever you get the opportunity, make sure you are thirsting down players. Especially if you're solo queuing. That's one of the most important things. If you're 1v3ing a team or 1v2ing a team, if you get one of them out of the team, a 1v2 is 100 times easier than a 1v3. Not only because you have to fight less people, but because their confidence levels will drop to 0. But listen, if you lose someone in your team, I don't want your confidence levels to drop, okay? There's still a very high chance of you 1v3ing or 1v2ing, and you don't even know it, and a lot of the time you'll surprise yourself. And tip number 8, this isn't really much to do with KD, but did you know you can actually stand closer to an arc star than you think? Even if you see the indicator, you can actually stand a little bit closer to where it actually won't hit you. That is cool. And finally, guys, tip number 9, this is for all my controller players out there, maybe even M&K players. I'm not sure if it applies to you guys, but make sure you're not changing your settings all the time, okay? Please stop. If you're changing your sense consistently, why are you doing this? Stop it. Okay, there is no such thing as a perfect sense. You just need to get used to a certain sense and you will be fine. Okay, as long as it's not too high. I personally don't recommend anything above 6, especially for ADS sense. Your ADS sense should be maximum 4, in my opinion. Why are you going to put that at 5? You don't need to. And if you're wondering what my sense is, it is 4, 3 linear. Thank you all for watching. I hope this helped a little bit. And if it did, maybe leave a like, you know. I love you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye, tiny creatures of the universe.